John here. It's Monday again, so that means we have another alternate picking lesson. In today's lesson, I'm going to share a tip that will help you work on your synchronization, and also a technique that really helps you work on those longer picking lines. The way we're going to accomplish this is by using accents, and I'm going to walk you through exactly how I use them and how I've helped a lot of my students with synchronization problems, and also giving you some ideas on how to practice longer lines. Why this accent technique works so well is because you get something that I call the spotlight effect. And basically that just means that whatever note you're accenting, you're gonna shine like a spotlight in terms of your attention. So you're gonna find out much easier if you're getting something wrong on that particular note. And when we do this in a systematic fashion, you can really iron out those difficult spots. If you want tabs for this one and all the previous videos, as well as all the upcoming videos and some bonuses, you can sign up for my YouTube lessons thing on Teachable. You have the link down below, and for $5 a month, you get access to everything, including ability to contact me via the comments on any videos. If you have any specific questions, you can post them there and I'll help you out as soon as possible. Tabs are also available through my Patreon. Same thing, only difference there is that you also get access to my complete lesson library containing hundreds of different lessons. And before we get started today, go check out my 17 free lessons by clicking on the link below. Sign up with your email address. You'll get sent a link where you can access all 17 lessons covering alternate picking, economy picking, hybrid picking, legato, as well as a full solo, all in full Guitar Pro tabs and video demonstrations. On top of that, you'll also get access to an exclusive lesson series that I only provide for my newsletter subscribers. Alright, so here's the slow version of that lick. We start on the 7th fret of the low E string. Okay, so I'm just going to take you through the alternate pick part first. Basically, we start here on the 7th fret of the low E string, and we play the following arpeggio. It's C major 7 arpeggio, starting on the 7th degree. So we go B, C, E, G. Once you've done that, you repeat that in 2 octaves. So you go, move up to the D string, move up to the B string. So that's the first part, all alternate picked. Then you go back down, so basically no new notes. Keep going in the Aeolian scale, which is again fancy pants name for natural minor scale. So in this one, I'm actually going 3, 1, 1. You could also go, but for whatever reason, I'm very comfortable with just going. But either way works. And that goes with pretty much any fingering that I show you here. It's totally up to you. Change the fingering, the picking, add hammer-ons, pull-offs, whatever. Just make it your own. But I'm just showing you the way that I played it here. So again. And from this note, we're on an upstroke. And that's kind of important though, if you want to get into this sweep later on. So we have this chromatic thing. And since we have an uneven number of notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we're going to be set up to do the same pick stroke going down. So that's why this upstroke is important. You can alternate pick this if you want, but I think it's smoother to do it with economy picking. If you're not, if your name is Steve Morse or Martin Miller, maybe it's not, but try it both ways and see what you like the best. So just make sure that if you economy pick it, make sure that you get into rest strokes right after this note. Okay. So basically after this we have down, and then I use hybrid picking and then so my M finger. And if you haven't done hybrid picking before, well, go check out my hybrid picking video. Basically going through all the basics here. So if you've done that one, you should be in good shape to be able to execute this. So, okay. Of course, you could alternate pick this as well. I just think it's easier to use hybrid picking. It just makes the whole vibe of the line smoother than if I would alternate pick it and be a bit like, am I gonna get through this? So that's why I like hybrid picking overall, because you can play things with wider intervals without, that much fuss, basically. So I think it's a really good technique to work on. But again, you can do whatever you want. If you're a hardcore El Di Meola, I have to pick every note alternate picking. I feel for you, and I used to be that way as well, but then I realized that life is too short to alternate pick everything. And besides that, you kind of get more varied dynamics when you switch up the techniques anyway. So I think it sounds more musical. But like I said, it's totally up to you. You can do it whatever way you want and whatever sound you're going for. So, just check out what I did here and then change whatever you want to change. So again, slowly from the beginning. So today's practice tool is accents, and to demonstrate this, I chose this fairly long picked line, starting here on the 9th fret of the A string. Again, just to keep it simple, we're going to keep it to E Aeolian or the E natural minor scale. So just start ascending 3 notes per string here. So basically up the scale and then down and then ending on the root. So of course, this is just to demonstrate the actual techniques. Just wanted a longer line that wasn't too involved or complicated. So this is basically just a scale going up and down. But it's basically works out in 16th notes. So that will help you see the process a bit clearer, I think. But just realize that this is applicable to any type of subdivision. So it has nothing to do with a subdivision. I'm just using 16th notes because it's easier for you to see. And it's just an even number, and most people are familiar with 16th notes. And if you're not, basically 16th notes just means that you play 4 notes per beat. So if you have this the tempo, you would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Right? So this phrase then would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So, accents just means that you're gonna slightly, when it comes to this technique, slightly accent whatever note of the subdivision you're working on. And I say slightly because you don't want to accent so much that you're going to change your technique. So specifically in the right hand, it can be easy to go like, kind of whack it a bit harder. And that's not what we're going for here. It's almost like a mental accent. That's what I tell my one-to-one students over Skype. Basically, you just want to focus a bit extra on whatever note you're accenting. And the only sort of rules I have here for this is to make sure that your foot is always on 1, whatever subdivision you're using. But now we're using 4, so you want your foot to always be on 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Regardless if you're actually accenting the second beat, for example, or second note of the subdivision. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to keep your foot on the 1 at all times. This will help your timing tremendously, and that will also help your overall technique, because technique and timing is sort of inseparable in a way. The way to do this then, and what I mean by mental accents, is that whatever note you're accenting, you kind of want to feel an extra connection between that, whatever finger that falls on and the pick stroke that it falls on. So it's more of a focus exercise than anything else. So if I apply this here then, so I'm going to go through this whole line. and I'm gonna accent the 1 the whole time. So I'm gonna exaggerate it a little bit now, but just try to see through that, if that makes sense. So, because if you just play it straight, you will feel like, well, you're not even accenting, but it's gonna be a very slight accent. You can almost see it more as if this is your regular dynamics when you play. When you try the accents, and this is the dynamics you normally play, you sort of go a bit below the accent you normally play, and then the accent is when you pop up to the normal dynamics. So that will ensure that you're not going to do any type of accenting that's going to affect your actual technique. So I'm going to try this again and see how it sounds. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1. And like I said, it's kind of hard to hear what I'm doing here. And actually, if you would hear me do this, you probably accenting it a bit too hard. And the thing you can try though is do it with just the guitar acoustically, and then it will be a bit easier to hear it as well. So I would go. Right. So I'm gonna go back to the distortion here, and then we're gonna accent the second note now. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4. And this will feel a bit weird, especially if you're not used to it. You might find that your foot starts wavering, but this is a really good time to really work on this. And a thing that helps is before you start doing this with a metronome, just count it out, because you can basically count 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4, and this being your foot, and making sure that your foot falls on 1 the whole time. And that's a really good way to work out any complicated rhythm actually. Just count out the subdivision, and you can count like 1 note per second. So you can go like 1 2 3 4 1 2, you know. So you can go really slow, but still sort of get the feel of that subdivision. Of course, if you go a bit faster, it's going to be easier to get the feel, but you want to go as slow as you need to, so you can actually control the subdivision and knowing what you're actually doing. And then once you get used to that, you can start doing it faster and faster, and after a while you're going to get into that sort of tempo zone of 40 BPMs plus for the quarter note at least, where you can actually use the metronome where it actually will help you. Because if you have the metronome below 40, it's going to be really hard to nail it if you're not used to this, even though that can be a good practice as well. But in terms of doing this, I think it's much better for you to just count it out and make sure that whatever subdivision you're using, your foot is always bang on the 1, so no flams, just bang on. Okay, so we're gonna go to 3 now. So 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1, and then I'm gonna go for 4. 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 1. I know that this might seem a bit silly, but give it a try and really give it a few practice sessions at least, so you can get a chance to get this to work for you. Because everybody I've showed this to, and for myself, that's really worked great. And I use it mostly for longer lines, like I said, because it's kind of pointless to do if I just gonna go. That's really enough notes to accent. But I find it's really good for longer lines, because those can be a bit harder to manage otherwise, because you kind of want to do shorter phrases and be able to loop things, but certain things are not that easily loopable, and in my opinion then a bit harder to practice. So using accents is a really good tool to get around that. And the way that I suggested you do it is basically take the phrase you're working on and start as low as you can on the fretboard, and then go through the whole subdivision thing. So I would play the entire thing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Go through acts in a second, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. The third, the fourth, then move up 1 fret, do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Do all 4, move up a fret, go all the way up the fretboard. And then you can be like, all right, I'm done practicing this for now, and then you can move on to something else. So I like that because you get the benefit of moving it up and down the fretboard, or up in this case. You can also go down if you want to practice it twice as much, but I wouldn't probably not do it more than that, because at a certain point the benefit of doing more reps is gonna go downhill a bit. So yes, if you do it up or down as well, that should be enough. And then day by day you'll feel that it gets better and better, because when you do this you have full control. And another thing that's really helpful with this is that you can't really bullshit yourself. You can't, just raise a tempo on the metronome and be like, yeah, that was great, because you know that you're either doing it, you're not. And when you have to keep track of actually accenting each subdivision, it's pretty much impossible to fool yourself. One final thing here though, what I mean by feeling your fingers a bit more as well, what you can do initially is to just a tiny bit more pressure on whatever note you're accenting. So you would just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm kind of like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So basically just smacking the fret slightly harder with whatever finger that ends up on whatever subdivision you're working on. So you can really feel that extra connection between the two hands. So if you have trouble with this technique initially, try that, because I believe that will help you a lot. All right, so that's it for today. Give this a try it on different things, and give it at least a couple of weeks before you make a decision that it doesn't work for you. And I'm 100% sure this works for anyone. So if it doesn't work for you, you probably did something wrong. Either rewatch the video or leave me a comment so I can help you out. So thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.